Hello, it's day 30 of the GCSE Geography Countdown. I hope you are finding these useful. Today we are looking at weathering and mass movement. Please do subscribe down below, it really does help me out. Yeah, let's go. So, rockfall at Beachy Head. There was a dramatic rockfall at Beachy Head in East Sussex. During the wet winter of 2000, the chalk rock became saturated with water. The water froze during the winter. In April 2001, this caused a rockfall. A huge slab of chalk broke away and collapsed into the sea. Processes like this, combined with the action of the waves, shape the coastline. But what causes a cliff to collapse? Cliffs collapse because of different types of weathering. This is the weakening or decaying of the rocks in their original place on or close to the ground surface. It's mostly caused by weather factors such as rainfall and changes in temperature. There are three main types of weathering. Firstly, mechanical or physical weathering. This is where the disintegration, the breakup of rocks occurs. Where this happens, piles of rock fragments called scree can be found at the foot of a cliff. Secondly, chemical weathering. Chemical weathering is caused by chemical changes. Rainwater, which is slightly acidic, very slowly dissolves certain types of rocks and minerals. And then thirdly, biological weathering. This is due to the actions of flora and fauna, plants and animals. Plant roots grow into the cracks in the rocks. Animals, such as rabbits, burrow into the weak rocks, such as sand. Weathering processes. Freeze-thaw or mechanical. Water collects in cracks and holes or pores in the rock. At night, this water freezes and expands and makes the cracks in the rock bigger. When the temperature rises and the ice thaws, the water will seep deeper into the rock. After repeated freezing and thawing, fragments of the rock may break off and fall to the foot of the cliff, known as scree. Salt weathering or mechanical. Seawater contains salt. When the water evaporates, it leaves behind salt crystals. In cracks and holes, these salt crystals grow and expand. This puts pressure on the rock, and flakes may eventually break off. And carbonation, a chemical kind of weathering. Rainwater absorbs CO2 from the rock and becomes slightly acidic. Contact with alkaline rocks such as chalk and limestone produce a chemical reaction which causes the rocks to slowly dissolve. So what are the processes of mass movement? Mass movement is the downward movement or sliding of material under the influence of gravity. In 1993, 60 metres of cliff slipped onto the beach near Scarborough in North Yorkshire, taking with it part of the Holbeck Hall Hotel. The hotel was left on a cliff edge and had to be demolished. Both mass movement and weathering provide an input of material to the coastal system. Much of this material is carried away by waves and deposited further along the coast. So there are four main types of mass movement at the coast. Firstly, rockfall. This is where fragments of rock break away from the cliff face, often due to freeze-thaw weathering. A landslide, where blocks of rock slide downhill due to the influence of gravity. There are mud flows, which is where saturated soil and weak rock flows down a slope. And then fourthly, rotational slip or slump. A slump of saturated soil and rock, weak rock along a curved surface. So rotational slump, it kind of slips where it is and moves down, whereas a mud flow is it's smaller at the top and like pulls out at the bottom. So we're going to briefly look at the question, assess the importance of weathering and mass movement at the coast. So these two things, weathering and mass movement, provide so much of the material that later erodes the coastlines. They also dictate the landforms that are there. So these are like erosional landforms, I guess. But they're not caused by the sea, they're caused by weathering and mass movement, obviously. But they do dictate the shape of the coastline because they're susceptible to weathering, and that can be caused by the sea due to the salt water, salt weathering, but also the types of mass movement occur at coastlines Generally this is due to the type of rock. So if it is like a softer rock, so something like chalk or limestone, there are more pores and therefore they are also more susceptible to mass movement as well. So yeah, you can talk about them as your 2 examples, and then you need to assess the importance of them as well. So I hope this has been useful. Please do subscribe down below if it has, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye guys.